listen up. Let's say something right out of the gate. I am normally a purist. You know that. You know, I like the idea that baseball going into this, if they do this change in a couple years, only has 33% of their teams make the postseason, which is better than football, far better than the NBA and the NHL. So I am one of those guys who wants the good teams to have to be in the playoffs and only the good teams. I don't want 82 and 80 teams in the postseason. Let's also establish that right out of the gate. Sometimes, less is a lot more. I like that theoretically. I usually like less teams. But in this particular situation, I don't have a major problem with the idea here with baseball as far as adding 2 playoff teams per league beginning in 2022, putting more cities in the mix. I don't have any problem whatsoever of putting a little NCAA selection field to it, which is what they want to do here. And, of course, Mr. Pettini, who got a lot to do with this probably, he comes from CBS with the NCAA mentality, and I have no problem with that whatsoever with this selection idea format. Well, is it that big a deal that you don't like it because it's gimmicky? Nonsense. It's good TV. Bottom line is good TV. You get eyeballs watching the sets. That's what the whole thing is. Eyeballs to sets. That's all that comes out. That's what makes the world go around. And if in fact it makes it for good TV that the Saturday or Sunday at noontime at the end of the regular season we all watch like the NCAA football does, and we pick where everybody's going to play, and every team, the top seeds who get the bye, the 2 and the 3 can pick their opponent. Nothing wrong with that. Put that for a half hour. It's a good idea. I would end the season on a Saturday and have the selection process Sunday at noon before the NFL. That's the way I would do it, and I would stay away from the NFL. So I would play my last game on Saturday, and then I would play the selection thing at 12 o'clock on Sunday into the NFL football. Forget about it, and I'll see you Monday as far as the postseason is concerned. I have no problem whatsoever with the best of 3 in a wild card situation. No, not at all. No problem with. And I have no problem with the idea that tiebreakers now will be based on head-to-head records. I have no problem with that. These playing games do not generate as much juice as you think they might generate. So I have no problem with that. And I have no problem either with an 82-80 team having a chance to win a world championship. Because if you have an 82-80 team and they're good enough to win 2 road games in a first-round series, then good enough to turn around and beat the 1 seed in a second series, and then good enough to turn around and win the ALCS, and then in a best of 7, and then good enough to turn around and win a World Series best of 7. That's 4, 8, 11. That is 13 games they have to win, many of which are on the road. If they can pull that off, they deserve a championship. Simple as that. Nobody had a problem when the football giants in 2008 were 9-7, very average in a regular season. 9-7, went to Tampa, went to Dallas, went to Green Bay, and then beat the Patriots. Nobody had a problem when Tennessee, 9-7, went into New England, went into Baltimore, and then played for the AFC Championship game in Kansas City. Nobody had a problem with it. The idea that this is heresy, that a team that's 83-79 makes the postseason, that is a bunch of nonsense. The Knicks one year were the 8th seed, under 500, got to the NBA final. Plenty of NFL teams. The 79 Rams were 9-7. Got to a Super Bowl. So this idea, this holier-than-thou idea that I've read about the last 24 hours, how dare they give a team with a chance to win a championship at 83-79? Calm down. Calm down. This is 2020. More playoff games are interesting anyway. Baseball in October is better than baseball in August. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And as far as the scenario about the advantages, the union's not going to scream about tanking because more teams, theoretically, in late July before the deadline, with an opportunity to play in a best of 3 instead of a 1-game shootout, would theoretically not give up. Would go out there and try to win. There's an extra couple playoff spots on the line here. You're obviously going to be able to sell this to TV because they want games. That means something. You're telling me that ESPN on the Tuesday in 2022, on a dead week for them, you're telling me ESPN would not want to put 6 games up with scattered starts, on the Tuesday? 6 games on ESPN on Tuesday, first day of the playoffs. We can move the starting times around. 1:40, 2:20, 4:10, like the NCAA. You're telling me that people would not get into that on all their platforms, on ESPN2, on ESPN News, on ESPNU, on ESPN? The whole world would get into that. What are you, crazy? You wouldn't sit in front of a TV set knowing there are 6 playoff games on October 2nd on the ESPN platform, and they start at 2 o'clock and the last game starts at 8? You would have a field day with that if you're a sports fan. More is better. Smorgasbord. You don't like that game, you go to this game. This game is slow as all can be. It's taking forever. I go to that game. My team starts at 8 o'clock. Fine, I'll start at 5. And I'll find the endings of all these games. That's brilliant. That's what they should do, for crying out loud. Here's the bottom line, folks, and I don't know if you guys out there who are in the media who think, like Trevor Bauer, that idiot, go play with a drone. I mean, the bottom line is Bauer, who hates this idea. Did you see the ratings on TV? What do you think, the whole world's watching Brewers and the Nationals? No, they're not. No, they're not. What do you think? How about baseball in Pittsburgh in September with the Steelers? People all revved up by it? No, they're not. No, they are not. They're trying to mix it up a little bit. They're trying to generate some enthusiasm, and I'm a purist. I like the 154-game schedule, for crying out loud. I would like to go back to pre-1969 and have the American League play the National League. You know what? I live with 4 teenagers. I know what they think. They don't want to sit there in July, watch 162 games and wait a long time before they get to some big ones. Or their team is out of it. And they say, geez, it's July 20th. My team's 25 games behind the Dodgers. So what do I do then? Turn off the sport into the next spring training? I don't blame baseball whatsoever. And I'm a purist. The one thing I don't like, it's a little tricky, I don't like a wild card team being able to host 3 games in the first round. And as it sets up right now, the 4th seed in the American and National League, who has not won a division because the 4th seed would be the number 1 wild card team, he hosts 3 playoff games against another wild card team. That I don't like. Why should a wild card team get 3 home games against another wild card team? I know they probably do it this way for travel. Maybe that can be tweaked. I'm not in love with that, but that's really minutia. The big picture of this, I'm for. And again, I am, you know me. I'd like to go back to 1927, but I can't. I'm for this. All right, you're going to put 14 out of 30 teams in the playoffs. Do I like those odds? No, I do not. I don't. But the NFL is going to add 2 teams. Did you know that? They're going to add another couple teams. There's going to be another playoff game. They're going to add more playoff games, and the NFL doesn't do anything. And they're going to put more playoff teams in. So they're going to have an 8-8 team in the playoffs. How come nobody screams about that? How come nobody screamed about Tennessee, who had a chance to go into Baltimore against the 14-2 team and beat them? They were 9-7. They were the 6th seed. Beat them. Beat them. And New England, who won a division. So why, if Tennessee can do it and the Giants can do it in football, what, an 83 and 79 team can't have an opportunity to beat the big, bad, mighty Yankees? And one other note. If anybody thinks that you are going to hear any criticism, this is that big a deal that these GMs are not going to want to admit what team they're going to play on this TV selection Sunday on Sunday? The owner's going to tell the GM, here's the deal. I'm for this. It's good for the sport. Keep your big fat mouth shut, your frowns to yourself, and go pick the team who we're going to play. And if that team uses us for bulletin board material, tough. Go out there and beat them. And everybody else who says, well, how about this long delay with the playoffs, where you're going to end the regular season, you're going to wait a week for the 1 seed to play a game? Nonsense. They wait 4 days anyway. The 1 seed doesn't start the games in one league until Friday. They finish the regular season on Sunday. What difference does it make? They wait. The Yankees finished the regular season on Sunday this year and played the Twins on Friday. How'd that work out? Who won the game? The Yankees destroyed the Twins. Houston didn't play for 4 games. Tampa did. How did Tampa play in Houston the first 2 games of the wild card round divisional series this year? They got ambushed. The idea that you're going to get these teams, they're going to get rusty. Nonsense, they're not going to get rusty. These teams know how to figure it out. My God, that's not going to happen whatsoever. Did the Dodgers win the first game against Washington? Yes, they did. All for it.